Let's talk some toys in here.
How's everybody doing today? It's the man child. All right, so today we're going to go over the new Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, new Eternia Manny Faces, part of Wave 8. Yeah, I have all 4 Wave 8 figures. Now, I reviewed the Sorceress already. Go check it out. Beautiful figure. I wasn't sold too much on the cape. I thought they could have did something a little better with it. Maybe some printed feathers or had her as a deluxe or something like that. But, that's what customs are for and whatnot. Aside that, of all figures, I'm really fascinated or most interested in the Manny Faces. I mean, he's a core character going back to the vintage days, and I had one as a kid, loved him. He also showed up in the 2000X in toy form, of course, the classics, and now we have him in the Masterverse. But they did a good job on him. Looks very comparable to the classics, something like that anyway. I think what's neat with this Manny Faces, though, is the extra faces you get in a suitcase, it looks like. So not only do we have the 3 original um, faces that we're used to, what it looks like, and with the little turn cap up top. I think it works anyway. So not only does he maintain his action feature, but yeah, you get these other faces. And that opens up a whole new door with this figure to customize it with 3D printing, or maybe they'll put some additional face masks out. If these snap in, which I think they do, I mean, you can have hundreds of different faces now for this particular figure if they want to go that route or you want to make them. I think that's pretty cool. And here's a quick look on the art on the back of the box. So we got 3 different images of Manny Faces with his human form, monster, and robot. Here's a close look at the bio. You want to pause and read that. And dropping down, these are all 4 figures in Wave 8. So I already reviewed the Sorceress. We're doing Manny Faces now. Next up is Shadow Weaver. And I just found Pighead. He's coming in probably next week. And once I get him, I'll review him. And here's some additional art on the right-hand side of the box with 3 different images. Once again, of Manny Faces, but with the alternative face masks in. And here's a quick look around with Manny Faces and all his accessories at a box. So taking a look at Manny Face's head or face sculpt or Manny Faces, it's yeah, it has a typical cage or guard around the head. Of course the opening in front now. This one doesn't articulate like the Origins. I'll bring the Origins a little bit to compare it, show you what I'm talking about if you're not familiar. But it does pop off. So let's get into that first. So basically you're going to squeeze it, and there you go. And that's his Manny Faces under there. Now, it does spin. I mean, we'll go over the faces in detail in a second, right? We've got the creature face, robot, and the human face. It doesn't, it's not on a, well, it kind of does rock back and forth. I don't know if it's on a ball joint. I think it's just the space and the, how it's recessed in there. But that's more or less the look of it. And you do have the little turn knob on top. Now, there's something interesting with this turn knob. You can use your fingers, going back old school, like the vintage Origins or classics, and turn if you wanted to. But the weapon acts as a wrench or a tool for this. So let me bring that in first and we'll take a look at that. So getting into some of his accessories real quick, let's take a look at that gun. Look at the size of that. That's pretty cool. Nice detail. Of course, it's in a bright orange like most Manny Face figures come with. Now, if you see on the inside there how it's sculpted and inverted, it's hexagon like a wrench. I'm going to show you why. So putting the guard back on the head real quick. And of course, we have the monster face showing. Yeah, basically this gun is a tool. Sort of an action feature on top of being an accessory. So we just put on this turn knob here. Check that out. And that's how you can turn the faces. Right now we got the human face. Right, rotated with the cage back on. You got to push down on it, by the way, too. If it's too loose, it ain't going to work. It's got to really cup all the way at the bottom of this guard. All right, got the robot face. And back to our... gotta watch slips. Monster face. It doesn't, yeah, you got to really put pressure on it to work, but that's kind of what it's set up to do. So taking the guard back off real quick, here's a little better detail. You want to check that out. It's the front and the back. It's to see how it's hollow inside. Soft material. I like the paint on this too, that metallic blue, like Manny, especially the way they did it on this Manny Faces figure. And also I want to make note why the guard's back off. So we know this spins. I'll show you all that. It kind of rocks back and forth, but look at that. You can actually pop it off, and it is on a peg. So while we have the head off, right, you can see that kind of its own peg. It's not going to fit another Masterverse head. So I'm going to bring in the Masterverse movie He-Man head, which most people hate it. I didn't mind it. And there's a company called, I think it's Raymond Toys, is making a more Dolph-accurate sculpt. I don't think Mattel was able to do it because of likeness rights. And yeah, we're not getting all that. But anyway, this is the He-Man I have closest now. You can kind of pop it on a peg if you're curious. It will sit there, but yeah, it's not going to work. It's not designed to do that. So if you want to put another Masterverse head on here, it's not set up for that. So putting his spinning heads back around, I want to make another point with this pistol. Now he has this bracket on the back. Of course, all this typical sculpting Manny faces comes with his supply lines there, right? And it looks like you can store this pistol on the back with this peg if you wanted to, something like that. So putting that head guard back on, I left the robot face showing. Before we get into additional faces and those accessories, let's go over the body and articulation now. Yeah, he's got all the circuitry here on the upper buck that, you know, as I said, Manny Face is known for. Now, this is all not part of the sculpt. This is all separate, what it looks like to me, but it's plugged or glued in. So all these hoses look like they could come off in the centerpiece. Same thing with that piece in the back and his peg setup. You can see that. It is gapped. It's not part of the sculpt. But as far as our articulation with the ab, so let's see, we can spin at the ab. We can go forward and back about that far. He spins at the waist. You know, cool looking arms with Manny Faces. As far as the articulation, so we can go, you know, out, down, forward, back, has a bicep swivel. Can bend all the way like this, up at the face. Yeah, got cool sculpting, everything. The bracers is all, I got scratches there. It's all part of sculpt. These don't come off the arms. And then he comes with two semi-closed gripping hands to hold the weapons. We'll put the gun in soon. Check that out. And of course, they spin on hinge joints going in and out. And the left arm's all the same, right, as far as the articulation, hand, everything. It's got all the same sculpting designs. A little purple piece in there. It's identical to the right side, and so is the forearm guards. Here's a little closer look at that chest piece if you're curious how the sculpting and paint. You want to see that. And then moving down to the waist, so we know they spin at the waist like all the Masterverse. It's got some purple highlights in there as part of his loin cloth or just pad here. Yeah, I like the way that's all done. The legs too, but I have some QC issues scratching. You can see that. I got weird scratching in these corrugated plates here. I don't know what that's about. Now, as far as the legs, so let's see. Now, mine can go all the way out like that. Now, mine are getting stuck. I did have to use a blow dryer to heat the joints. This knee was stuck. Simple fixes in here early before I made the video. So I wanted to point that out. And go all the way forward like that, right back. Now we can bend all the way up at the knee on both legs where this one was stuck. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love the design of these legs and boots. Got those, wide protectors there. You know, the knee protectors there. And that's soft. It's all part of sculpt. With the boot does spin. And they can come off. Now, he also has these thigh splits here, like all the Masterverse has. I don't care for them to give them to you. But you can see now I have a QC issue in mine where there's a gap. Not a big deal at certain angles. It does close, but it's just something loose in the how it was made in factory. So yeah, kind of a bummer at certain angles, but that's just mine. And then of course, so I said the knees. We know the boot spin, and then as far as the foot, right, you can go up, down, rock side to side, and the other side's all the same. We said the boot spins, and this foot can go up, down, left to right, or rock side to side. I'm just checking for QC issues, but it looks okay on my figure. So getting into his other accessories, now we know he comes with the blaster pistol. He comes with a closed pair of punching fists, so you do get those. And if you're not familiar, this is how the hand and peg system comes out, so it looks like that. And I'm going to push one of those punching fists in. And the fist also spins and is also on our hinge joint, go in and out. It's a little tight, but like that. And we'll put the gun in the right hand for fun. And here's a quick look at Manny Faces with the gun in the right side and a punching fist in the left. All right, check that out. So for his last accessory, checking out this suitcase he moves around with the multiple faces. That's so cool. I love that. Check that out. Now, this is on a piece of, it's not really on a hinge, but this does close. And you can snap it lock, something like that. And then you got, look at that, like an eye in there, the sculpting and designs. Now, yeah, you got to watch this if you're going to constantly open and close it. You know, I'm going to keep mine open maybe, but once you pop it open, you keep moving this too much. I could see this white tab, see, it's starting to turn white and breaking over time, so I'd be careful of that. So here's a close-up look of all three faces in the case there. You get a skull face, reminiscent of Skeletor. You get the, this face here. Kind of reminds me of Prince Keldor or something, or the Philosopher. And then another masked face to replace his primary masked face that we all know. So they obviously snap off. They have two pegs. Look at that. I got a little skull piece. Now, these were hard to get out. You gotta like really, okay, so you got, that's how that one came out. And then I just used a brush or like light. Don't use anything metal. It's kind of how I pried them out. Like I'm gonna try with the skull piece. Just to first get them out of the case because they're packed in there pretty tight. So you gotta kind of mess around with it like that. So getting back to Manny Face's head. So let's see these. Okay, they pop off like so. We'll take each one off. Next thing, the robot. And I'll take the creature face off. So I'm going to put the skull face in, then the human Prince Keldor face. Now the masked one. And with the guard off, we'll spin it, just check it out, right? We got the skull, the masked, and the human. Now with all three alternative faces, we'll put the head guard back on. Now we use our gun again, so of course we have the Keldor, the human face. Let's turn it. Got that alternative mask face. And then one more time. Let's get that skull face. Yeah, this gun is difficult. There we go. That's cool. I like that. Like a Skeletor face or something in there. So getting back to the case, of course, all three primary faces can fit in the same way as the alternative faces came out. And going back to that bracket on the back, or the pegs, this also has another set of pegs. So if you don't want to put the pistol on it, check this out. You can snap the case on. That's how he carries it. Like that. There's another look around with Man-E-Face with the big pistol in hand, the case on the back, and I got the skull face showing. Check that out. I like that setup the best. Or you can put the case in the left hand or right hand. Of course, I put the semi-weapon gripping hand on, so snap the case in hand like that. And there's a quick look at Man-E-Faces with, of course, the case in the right hand. I put the pistol in the left, and I just changed out the other alternative mask face. So I put all three regular faces back in the hood here, and I just like that. It's more traditional, but the ones in the case are awesome. Throw in the back, but for a little comparison, this is my classics and card one Man-E-Faces to the Masterverse, so you kind of see where the inspiration come from, different designs. I mean, the classics is always gorgeous. Smaller pistol, but I really like the way this one's done. Came out great. And there's a quick side-by-side comparison with our Masterverse Man-E-Faces and, of course, the Origins. And if you're not familiar, the Origins Man-E-Faces, as I said earlier in the video, see the whole hood can spin all the way around 360 degrees. That's pretty cool. Doing that while you can actually turn this knob and spin the faces. Would have been neat if the Masterverse one did that too, just to look left to right, but I see why they went with that setup. Here's a little detailed comparison between the Origins and Masterverse faces for Man-E-Faces. You want to check that out. And here's the monster face. And here's the robot face. So overall, I think this new Masterverse Man-E-Faces come out great. I love the way they went about them. I mean, that pistol's really cool. It's just oversized. It's a bigger blaster than we used to. It's pretty neat. They made it a tool to where you can turn this little knob and change the faces. And you don't have to use that. You can just take that face shield off easy, helmet, and spin the faces too. What really sells me is this whole face setup alone. I mean, the possibilities are unlimited if you can 3D print or Mattel or somebody wanted to make some custom out there, a customizer out there wanted to make additional faces. You can literally make dozens or hundreds of different faces. I mean, you can make a face with every single Motu figure in the whole Motu lore, which are hundreds of characters if you wanted to, with the right plate and, of course, the pegs, and just snap it into the little turn dial on the head. I mean, that's incredible just to do that. But even the three they gave you alone are neat. I like that Skeletor face, probably my favorite. But he does come with the three standard faces, which looks great. The sculpt. I love the articulation of this guy, the paint. I do have some QC issues on mine, scratching, something in the leg. I mean, it's going to happen. Kind of an early release, at least what I got, so you're going to see that. But otherwise, did a great job. And one of the best, I think, in Wave 8. So hopefully to answer your questions. I appreciate you guys watching. And until next time, take care.